Greetings and welcome. Thank you for joining us on this continuing adventure. Before we begin, please take a moment to hit those like and subscribe buttons and maybe drop a comment down below. It all helps feed the algorithm, and the algorithm is always hungry. And if you're so inclined, go over and check us out over on Patreon. Lots of cool stuff going on there, and possibly soon to be some more cool stuff going on over there. The link is down below in the video description and at the top of my YouTube page. Now, on with the story. The Deathworlders, a story by Philip R. Johnson, a.k.a. Hambone, Hambone HFY, and Hambone 3110. Chapter 22, Warhorse, the Second Year, Part 1. Date point, First Contact Day, 6 years AV. HMS Sharman, Cimbrian, The Far Reaches. Owen Powell. I'm glad that's out of the way. Powell chuckled. He'd worked under Admiral Patrick Knight before, when the man had been a Commodore. Knight was his opposite in many ways. Where Powell was wiry, intense, and shaven, Knight was a slender beanpole who wore a white mustache and a relaxed demeanor. They had in common a hatred of needless ceremony. Both were men of deed rather than pomp. It was a good speech, he reassured the Admiral. I should damn well hope so, Knight chuckled. Interest you in a drink, Major. You really shouldn't accept a promotion without celebrating it somehow. I don't really have enough mates for a wedding down, Powell said. Hence a snifter of brandy with a partial dinosaur like me instead, Knight twinkled. Aye, all right. Gotta mark the occasion sometime. Knew you'd come around. Knight finished out some cut glass tumblers and a decanter. Knowing the Admiral, they'd been among the very first thing he'd unpacked. You must be pleased with yourself. This is quite a command you've landed. Oh, aye, Powell agreed, watching him pour. A promotion and 5 times as much paperwork. I'm living the dream. Knight chuckled quietly. That you are. Do you have any idea how much there is to do in upgrading this camp into a full-blown HMS? Why do you think I'm volunteering to go through a couple of years of hard training instead? This got a full-fledged laugh, and Knight handed him his drink. I appreciate that you're the only man of any experience of commanding the kind of operations this regiment of yours will be conducting, he said. But are you absolutely sure you're up to this, Powell? Those men are going to need somebody they can respect and follow without question, and that means you'll need to keep up with them in training, physically speaking. Powell raised a hand. I'm not as young as I once was, he agreed, but I'll either clear that training or die trying. You can bet your life savings on that one, sir. Knowing you, you mean that literally. Knight raised his glass. To the former, then. Powell met the toast. Aye. Date point, 6 years, 5 months, AV. Miss Ava Rios, 20 Delaney Row, Folktha, Cimbrian. CIF 011 3BQ. Dear Ava, I am delighted to offer you a place in our BA Journalism Hans course, reflecting the glowing praise given you by your senior school teacher, Dr. J. Olmsted, and the high academic performance you have been able to demonstrate. While we regret not being able to interview you in person, we felt that your application letter showed you to be erudite and charming, and we hope to see you at the start of the semester on September 17th of this year. Please find enclosed your full admissions package and the details of what you will need in order to confirm your place in our course. Yours sincerely, Jennifer Roberts, Admissions Officer, City University, London. Date point, 6 years, 6 months AV. Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico, USA, Earth. Adam Ades. You realize you're crazy, right? Adam looked up. Like most of the others, he'd been examining the maroon beret on his hands for most of the evening, scarcely able to believe he was finally holding it, gently feeling the fabric and just appreciating it. Tony Collins high-fived him. Collins was one of the majority who were staying on as full-time PJs, and Adam had a huge amount of respect for all of them. They took the creed seriously. "Guess we are," he agreed. Baseball was on Skype to his mother back in L.A., but there was no doubt who the other half of the "you guys" plural that Collins had used was meant to be. "You're going to be old men before you're done training," Collins added, sitting down. "I don't know how you've got the patience for it." 23 ain't old, Adam said. "It'll fucking feel that way by the time you're mission ready," Collins retorted. "Where are you shipping out to next, anyways?" "Got some comprehensive armament training, and then it's on to Alabama. Astronaut training in Huntsville." "Fucking space cowboys," Collins chuckled, then held out a hand. Adam stood, shook it, and Adam slammed him into a vigorous guy hug. "Hey, you ever decide you want to come back down here to Earth, you let me know, hoss." Adam smiled. "Go save lives, man. It's been a privilege." Date point: 6 years, 9 months, AV. "Wow, you really don't have a lot of stuff, do you?" Ava's worldly possessions, in fact, consisted of one suitcase full of clothing, a backpack, and 2 modest cardboard boxes. Adam owned even less, and most of that had long since been put into storage in the bottom of his dad's wardrobe, or given to charity. "Most of the plates and stuff came with the house," she said, looking around it for probably the last time. Delaney Row was the last holdout of the little compact portable houses that had been array-jumped to Folkta during the early days of the colonization, and those were only holding out while the next housing plan was built. There were marvels of efficient use of space, squeezing 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, living area, and a bathroom into a mere double-digit of square footage. "You're going to miss this place, aren't you?" Gabe observed. "Yeah. I've got so used to how everything just sort of hides away or pulls double duty," she agreed, demonstrating how the steps up to her bedroom were also the bookshelf and the fridge door. She sighed and took down the last thing, an oval of varnished pink wood with the word Eden pyrographed into its surface that had been hanging from the front door ever since they'd first arrived. She put it on top of the smaller box, the one full of things she was leaving for Gabriel and Jess to look after, then stood in the middle of the room and flapped her arms once. "Goodbye, house." They walked her to the array terminal and watched through the glass as it activated while she was mid-wave. A cuboid of perfect blackness filled the jump room, and when it collapsed out of existence, it took her with it. Gabe sagged the instant she was gone. Jess just took his hand and walked him home. Date point: 6 years, 9 months, AV. Huntsville, Alabama, USA, Earth. "Oh man, you guys got here first? I was hoping for a good bed." There was some laughter, and the 4 men from Delta Force who had been squaring their stuff away dropped what they were doing to welcome Adam and Baseball. "They're all good beds," one of them promised. "So, you're our PJs. Geez, you guys look like you could rip a steer in half." "We both got plenty of gains in us yet," Baseball noted. "You guys are on the Crude E too, huh?" "We all are," the one with the name Stevenson on his chest declared. "You think we're going to get bigger?" "Shit, yeah," Baseball enthused. "Warhorse here is going to be a fucking freak, though. Stumpy-ass midget fucker's got the mechanical advantage." "Warhorse?" Sergeant Akiyama gave Adam a questioning look, as Adam gave his friend a cheerful middle finger. "'Cause he can carry a lot of heavy shit," Baseball told him, sparing Adam's blushes for once. "We're gonna need it," Vandenberg commented. Adam got the feeling that where the other 3 had sized him up, as he had them in turn, Vandenberg was evaluating him. Not maliciously, but it was telling that Stevenson, Sykes, and Akiyama glanced at him as if to gauge his opinion. It was a subtle, differential bit of body language that Adam almost missed. They shook his hands. "You guys heard anything about the suits we'll be wearing yet?" "Only a guesstimate of the weight," Adam told him. "Yeah, I did some digging. Word is the designer's a guy called Andrew Cavendish, and everything I could find out about the guy says that's not a guesstimate. He'll have the weight down of that suit to 10 decimal places long before they build a prototype." You dig up our itinerary for the week and all that research? Baseball asked him. Nope. Nobody's made an extra vehicular special forces unit before, so it's all being played by ear. Heard we're all arriving today, though, and my guess is we'll be doing some PT after everyone's in and stowed away. Maybe a speech from the old man first. You know how it goes. There was some nodding. Guess we'd better get our shit away then, Adam said. Top bunk, Baseball called, dashing towards an unclaimed dorm room. The others nodded, waved, and wandered off to carry on their chores. He knows we've all got rooms of our own, doesn't he? Akiyama asked. That's just a tradition of his, Adam replied, flinging his own bag over his shoulder and heading for the door next to Baseball's. I got the top bunk in basic. He reckons it should have been his because he's taller, so he grabs it first, right? I'll be right back. Better unload my stuff. Sure. We got a couple hours before the controllers and the Brits arrive. We were going to watch Zombie Shark 3. Sound good? Sounds fucking terrible, Adam replied. I'm in. Date point. 6 years, 9 months AV. London, England. Earth. Ava Rios. Hello? Ava had been dreading what the halls of residence might be like. There had been horror stories all over the internet, which was why she'd saved up her teaching money to get herself some of the really good ones in the colorful new building. Frankly, the space could have been put to much better use. If it had been designed with the same efficiency and folding way that Eden had boasted, she could have had a whole house in that room. But it would do, if kept tidy. She'd been hanging up her clothes when the hello arrived simultaneously with a knock on the door, which, being ajar, swung inwards cautiously. Oh, roommate! Ava waved hello. The girl who'd opened the door was tall, somewhere upwards of 6 feet, every inch of which lived in her thistledown-light long limbs. Between her straight ash-blonde hair, dazzling blue eyes, Nordic skin, and the diaphanous, layered, pale blue summer dress she was wearing, she would have been intimidatingly pretty, if not for her unreservedly friendly smile and bare feet. Hi, Ava said, offering a cautious wave. Hello, the blonde girl greeted her. She had a high musical voice and a cultured accent. How are you settling in? Have you been here long? I just got here, Ava revealed, indicating her suitcase and cardboard box on the bed. I don't have a lot of stuff with me. Oh, you are so lucky. My parents wouldn't let me leave home without everything. My room's a tip. Ava laughed and stuck out a hand. Ava. Hi, Ava. I'm Charlotte, came the reply, along with a handshake that was every bit as delicate as the girl itself. You're American. Cimbrian, actually, Ava told her, deciding that the first introductions were probably not a great time to mention San Diego. As in, the planet Cimbrian? Oh my God! Charlotte scooted into the room and sat eagerly on Ava's desk chair, immediately confirming Ava's suspicion that she was the kind of person who made friends instantly, whether or not the friend in question agreed. Fortunately, she was in a mood to make friends, and Charlotte seemed nice. Charlotte leaned forward eagerly. Deets! Deets? Details! What's it like living on another planet? Are there aliens? Ava giggled. Yeah, there are aliens. They're Buddhists. Buddhists? Really? Oh yeah, and you can get high off the local tea. And the capital city is called Folkville, which is the Irish word for bath, because the lady who named it walked halfway around the planet to get to that bath and was in it when the soldiers arrived to found the colony. Wow! Despite Ava's best efforts to make it all sound incredible, Charlotte looked like she believed every word without question. Okay, Ava asked her, where are you from? Newcastle up north. I know I don't sound it. We moved up there when I was 7. I wouldn't know the difference, Ava confessed. I've never been to England before. Oh, well, it sounds... Charlotte cleared her throat and spoke in a rounder, impenetrable accent. Arit, are you coming out the neat? Ava raised a hand to cover her laugh and decided that she liked Charlotte, who'd bobbled her head to make a silly face during her imitation. Okay, what did that mean? Darling, you simply must come and have a drink with me on the town this evening, Charlotte explained, employing a bourgeois motion of the hand and a toss of her head to punctuate the word must, and beamed when Ava giggled. Daddy wanted me to be an actress, she revealed. I think he's a bit put out that I'd rather be a midwife. Ava nodded. I'm doing journalism, she replied. So, are we having that drink? Oh, yeah, we can. I keep forgetting I'm old enough to drink in this country, she nodded. Can I have a few minutes to finish putting my stuff away? Then sure, let's go have fun. Don't be too long, Charlotte told her, and skipped out of the room to grab her coat, shoes, and handbag. Ava watched her go, smiling, and hurried to finish hanging up her shirts. Date point: 6 years, 9 months AV. Huntsville, Alabama, USA, Earth. Adam Ades. Roar! Crunch! John! No! Baseball lost it. Covering his face with one hand, writhed in his seat, wheezing a laugh deep in his gut. Oh my fucking God. He's actually milking the giant cow, Adam noted, folding his arms and throwing his head back to stare at the ceiling rather than the farce on the screen. The whole movie was bad to the point of hilarity, leaving all 6 of them in varying stages of laughter, from baseball's high-pitched Muttley snicker to Vandenberg's nasal explosions. Stevenson wiped away a tear. Man, fucking, oh my God. His voice had gone up about an octave. This has got to be deliberate. Of course it is, Vandenberg said. Come on, you don't think they took this shit seriously, do you? Just be tragic if they had, Akiyama agreed. Ah, shit. Adam grabbed the remote, spying movement out of the corner of his eye through the window. I think the old man's here early. There was a general looking around and standing up as it became apparent that he was right. A group of men were on the path round the side of the dorm building, carrying bags. They were up and waiting when the door opened, therefore, to admit 4 men that Adam didn't recognize, and, bringing up the rear, Legsy. Why, hey! The huge Brit pounced on Adam and tried to hoist him up in a hug, only just managing it. Fucking look at ya, pal! He delivered a friendly punch to the arm. Knew you had it in you! Adam laughed and returned the show of affection with a high five that turned into a shoulder-barging hug, which was interrupted by a cry of, Room 10, shut! Everybody snapped to attention. Stand at ease. 11 boots shifted sideways by a synchronized shoulder width as Major Owen Powell nodded his satisfaction and strolled into the middle of the room, the very picture of a confident and seasoned officer inspecting his subordinates for the first time. He looked good, Adam realized. Powell had never looked frail, but presumably he was on the crew D too. He'd gained some serious muscle mass, and several of the other lines on his face were gone, or much reduced. He looked younger, fiercer, and stronger. Aries, Burgess, he greeted them, favoring Adam with a nod. Settling in well? Yes, sir. Good. The major turned and addressed everyone. Stand easy, lads, he ordered. Everyone unwound a little, adjusted their clothes, and settled into a relaxed but alert posture with their hands resting lightly on the small of their backs, paying attention. I won't keep you long, Powell told them, finding a spot where they could all face him and be faced in turn. Today's a rest and social day. Just get to know one another. We'll be doing intensive PT throughout the rest of the week and some confidence building. But for now, introductions. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Major Owen Powell, Royal Marines Special Boat Service. My service history includes the Persian Gulf, Operation Elder Grove, Kenya, and Cimbrian. I am, for the time being, the only commissioned officer in the SOR, and when and how that changes is still being discussed. Master Sergeant Jones here, he indicated Legsy, is your NCOIC. He looked around. I appreciate that with 8 of you being American, you may not be certain about having a British commanding officer. I intend to demonstrate that I can hang with the best of them, and that I got this position on merit. By the time we're done here, I'll have certified to operate a spacesuit alongside you, and will have undergone Crew D aggressive training just like everyone else.
Adam nodded slightly, pleased to hear it. He'd guessed that Powell would stand for nothing less, but it was good to hear the Major confirm it. For his part, Powell seemed satisfied that he'd said enough.
We'll be discussing our full itinerary tomorrow after morning PT. This whole project is uncharted territory, so you're going to be heavily involved in getting things set up. Figuring out what roles we fill and how we're going to set about getting the best of our training opportunities. We'll get it right, and between us we'll set up a unit that'll be the pride and envy of the galaxy. All right?
There was a chorused, "Yes, sir!"
Good. Legsy, you know how to reach me if I'm needed. The rest of you, as you were, have fun.
Everyone relaxed once the door was closed behind him. "So yeah, that's the old man," Legsy commented, grinning. "Relax, boys. I've worked with him for years. We're in fucking good hands."
Vandenberg nodded. "I was wondering what he'd be like. Nice to meet you, Master Sergeant."
"Hey, I'm Legsy to everyone, even my Nan, God rest her," Legsy protested, though he shook Vandenberg's hand and those of the other Deltas. The other four men that Adam didn't recognize turned out to be their two combat controllers, Scott Blazinski and Christian Firth, and two more special boat service operators, Leo Price and Robert Murray. "So, no offense to you guys or anything, but how come we ain't got no SEALs in this unit?" Sykes asked. He'd so far been the quiet one of the Deltas, content to let everyone else do the talking. "USN didn't sign up to the regiment," Murray said. He, too, was a quiet one, a soft-spoken Scot with a nasty scar down the length of one forearm. It must have been an old one, maybe even predating his military career, or else the Crew D treatment would have softened and faded it.
"They got a rationale for that you know of?" Vandenberg asked.
"What I heard's that we're going to need more than one kind of operator out there," Murray shrugged. "Us here, we're going to be bloody huge by the time we're done. That's no good for a SEAL. They need to stay normal-sized. But, on the other hand, they'll have the sticking power for long deployments, which we won't."
Vandenberg nodded. "Right. I don't care if we find a Class 3 where squirrels made of peanut butter jump into our mouths. We're not going to be breaking even for calories on any op we do," he nodded towards Adam. "Especially not the PJs."
"Bloody right," Murray agreed, looking to Adam. "You're volunteering to carry the rest of us? You're fucking crazy, pal." Adam gave a self-depreciating little shrug and looked around the room. Legsy was unpacking an old PS3, which Baseball, Firth, and Akiyama were practically salivating over. Stevenson and Price, meanwhile, were setting up in the kitchen, ready to prepare the first barracks dinner, an occasion which Stevenson had marked by donning a pink gingham apron. "I think we all are," he said. Date point, 6 years, 9 months AV. Saddler's Bar. CULSU Student Bar, London, England. Earth. Ava Rios. "So, not a wine fan, huh?" Ava shook her head apologetically and handed over the glass. "I think I'll keep it in church," she said, licking her lips to try and get rid of the aftertaste. If that was alcohol, she was beginning to wonder what the appeal might be. Charlotte nodded, finished the wine, then spied something over Ava's shoulder and did an admirable impression of a magpie catching sight of something shiny. "Ooh, boy candy." Ava turned reflexively to frown at whatever Charlotte was staring at, not really seeing anything. "What?" "The two in the waistcoats by the bar," Charlotte insisted, though she sounded more amused than impatient. Ava finally saw them. "Oh." She turned back to Charlotte, who rolled her eyes. "Really?" she demanded. "What?" "They're pretty," Charlotte insisted. "They're stick thin," Ava objected. "What? Don't tell me you're into fat guys."
I'm into a guy who can pick me up, Ava replied, allowing herself the luxury of a boast and a sly smile. That little experiment had been especially fun. Charlotte rewarded her with a mock scandalizing pantomime, raising her fingertips to her open mouth, mimicking a little gasp, and raised her eyebrows. Okay, she demanded. Deets! What? My boyfriend can pick me up, Ava feigned innocence, then relented and allowed her sultry smile to show. Against a wall. For like half an hour. You're making that up, Charlotte scoffed. Well, it felt like half an hour anyways, Ava conceded. She hadn't exactly been watching the clock for an objective assessment. Wow, Charlotte drifted off into a fantasy fugue for a second. Still, I want that blonde one. She looked over Ava's shoulder at the boy candy again. Ava examined Charlotte's choice. He was about 6 feet tall, well-groomed, and sporting some slightly retro stubble and the kind of fashionable haircut and makeup that would have looked very strange 10 years ago. Good-looking, but in kind of a slim metrosexual way. His sleeves were rolled up, revealing tattoos that looked like they went all the way up. His friend was taller, darker of hair and paler of skin, with a distinctively straight nose and a square jaw that looked a bit out of place on his otherwise rail-thin frame. As Ava watched, the oriental dragon coiled about the blonde's left arm and moved its head and flicked a serpentine tongue. Wait, what the fuck? His tattoo's animated, she asked. Yeah, nano tattoos. Don't you have those in space yet? We don't even have the old-fashioned ink kind in Folktha, Ava revealed. So, what, he's got nanites under his skin? Yep, and you can upload pictures and designs from your phone. Charlotte tugged down the neck of her dress slightly, revealing a fairy on her breast, who flapped her wings and ran a hand through her hair. She plucked her phone from inside her bra and fiddled with it, cycling the decoration through a cluster of hearts, a butterfly, and a fish before returning it to the fairy. All of the different designs were animated. Are those even safe? Ava asked, still reeling from the revelation that they even existed. Safer than the ink kind. They're all hypoallergenic and stuff, and you can just turn them off if you want to be neat for a job interview or something, Charlotte said. You should get one. Boy candy, remember? Ava changed the subject. Oh, right. Charlotte knocked back the last of her drink and adjusted her dress some more so as to ensure that her tattoo, and more importantly, its canvas, was prominently on display. Would you be a darling and fly Wing Girl? Ava froze. I've never flown Wing Girl in my life. It's easy. You just talk to his friend. How do I... Relax, Charlotte gave her a winning smile. I'll break the ice. She grabbed Ava's hand and towed her to the bar and interrupted the boy candy's conversation with a friendly, Hi, I'm Charlotte. I'm from Newcastle. This is Ava. She's from outer space. Ava could only give them an apologetic smile and a shrug. Up close, she had to admit that Charlotte was right. They were pretty. The taller one with the dark hair, who was wearing a silver waistcoat and bottle green jeans, shook their hands, smiling, and relaxed an amused smile. Hello, Charlotte from Newcastle and Ava from outer space, he said. I'm Sean from Finchley, and this is Ben from... Actually, where are you from, Ben? Southampton, Ben replied, treating Charlotte to a handsome half-smile that was the exact masculine answer to her own flirtatious stance. Sean looked between them, then caught Ava's gaze and rolled his eyes. I'll get the drinks in then, shall I? He offered. Ava suppressed a laugh. I'll join you. They left Ben and Charlotte to go through the motions of getting to know one another and retreated to the bar. So, outer space? Sean asked. Cimbrian. Really? Dench, he beamed. What's it like out there? Ava sighed. It was beautiful, she said. Right now it's all kind of like being built or regrown. All the native plants near Folktha have died, and the Terran imports are so young, you know? It's going to be a forest eventually, but right now it's just a whole bunch of saplings.
What really happened to it anyways?
What did you hear? Ava asked.
That somebody took a dump in the woods.
Yep, that's what really happened.
Sean burst out laughing. You're taking the piss.
She shrugged. Nope, that's what happened. Crazy, huh?
Sean laughed again and shook his head.
Mad. Anyways, buy you a drink. Sure, but I'm kinda taken.
Sean laughed again. He had an easy, light laugh that he seemed to deploy often.
Relax, Duck. I'm not like them two. He jerked his thumb towards Ben and Charlotte. I don't go from hi there to let's rock the sheets in 2 seconds. What's yours? My drink. I don't know. I've never really drunk before. You like cranberry? Sure. Right. Amaretto and cranberry and a Corona and lime then. Ava inclined her head. Why's that? I like them both, so whatever you decide, I'll have the other, Sean said. He caught the bartender's eye and placed the order. So, what's your other half's name? He asked upon turning back to her. Adam. Airman Adam Aries, United States Air Force. Yeah? Your bloke's in the military? Blade stench. Ava shook her head, a little incredulous of the slang. Okay. What the hell does plate stench mean? She demanded. Sean laughed again as he received the drinks. Blates, dench, he enunciated. Blatantly awesome. I say, old thing, that really is rather amazing, you see? Anyways, have a sip of these. Tell me which you prefer. Ava accepted the amaretto cranberry first and sipped it. It was pleasantly sweet and sort of nutty? Pastry? The beer, on the other hand, just made her stick out her tongue and make a sort of sound, and she thrust it back into Sean's hand, drawing another one of those easy, light laughs from him. He was good for lifting her mood, at least, she decided. Her life could do with more laughter. What about you? She asked. Where's Finchley? Oh, it's about 10 stops away on the tube, he smiled. Bit closer than Cimbrian. Just a bit, she agreed. What are you studying? Sean asked. Journalism. Yeah, same here. Oh, thank God, she sighed. I'll have somebody to sit next to in class. Am I literally the only person you know then? Sean asked, then glanced up. Besides Charlotte, was it? That's right, and yes. What's she doing? Midwifery, I think? Sean laughed again. Her? Ditzy, he declared. Those babies are going to come into this world, and the first thing they're going to see is her tattoo waving at them. Ava glanced across at Charlotte, who couldn't have been flirting harder if she had been given Ben a lap dance. Hey, she knows what she wants and she goes for it. I kind of admire that. Shall we get back over there before they head back to the dorms? Sean indicated drinks. Ava nodded, pleased to have made a friend. Good idea, she said. Date point, 6 years, 10 months, AV. Bankhead Parkway Northeast, Huntsville, Alabama, USA, Earth. Adam Aries. Fucking Christ, Aries! How heavy's that ruck? Tell you what. Adam took a few huge breaths to try and force down his panting breath, leaning on his own thighs. You want to wear it? Try and beat my time? He shrugged said pack off and lowered it to the ground, restraining a sigh of relief. The bag was at least half again as heavy as his spacesuit was eventually going to be, and he just finished a 20-click forced march that had, through sheer competitiveness and bloody-minded macho stupidity, become a 20-click jog, and then a 20-click run. He was fucking beat, but also determined not to show it. That was probably true of everyone, however. Every last one of them had taken the opportunity, upon crossing the finish line, to ditch the bags and start inhaling sports drinks. and all of them, to his trained eye, were nursing something or another of what was causing them pain. Most of them were staring off into the distance beyond the ground between their feet in the meditative way of the truly exhausted. "Not this year, thanks," Price smacked him on the shoulder in a friendly way and looked back down the path, wiping the sweat off his brow. "And hey, you beat the Major at least." "He'll make it," Adam said. "Can't expect him to keep up with guys who are like 2/3 his age." "Oh, I know he will, mate. I was on Operation Elder Grove with Powell," Price said. "And to be fair, he only started on the magic potion like 3 months ago. He's come a long way fast." Adam looked back down the trail they'd just run just as Powell finally came into view. He looked in a bad way. He was limping. His whole head was red with exertion, and his scalp and nose were dripping with sweat. But there was a ferocious scowl on his face, and the expression of a man who was doggedly telling physics and biology to go fuck themselves. The Deltas, to a man, plus Legsy, Burgess, and Firth, hauled themselves stiffly to their feet and started whooping and hollering, inspiring their CO to put his head down a bit more and pick up his pace on the final straight just by a little. The cheering faded when his legs suddenly gave out under him, totally failing to hold his weight any longer. Powell nosedived into the dirt and rolled, clutching at his calf and gritting his teeth that were suddenly covered in the blood that was pouring from his nose. Adam took off running just ahead of Baseball and arrived as Powell rolled over and started to lever himself upright. "Sir!" "Fuck off!" The Major tried to weight bear on his leg and nearly fell over again. There was no strength left in it at all. "You fucking... Oh!" "As your medic," Baseball began. Powell grabbed the front of Baseball's shirt. "I'm finishing this fucking run," he snarled, pausing for emphasis. "If I have to fucking hop." "Yes, sir." Powell did exactly as he described, bouncing on his good leg to the edge of the trail and drawing his knife to cut the base of a thumb-thick branch from one of the hundreds of trees that lined their trail. He tested his weight on it, then set off hobbling, pinching his nose to stop the bleeding, and with 2 concerned pararescuemen exchanging worried glances in his shadow. He was barely managing a walking pace, but, true to his word, he finished the run, swearing and shuntering away to himself every inch of it before he finally crossed the line and sank down onto the concrete divider that marked where the path met the road, his face pinched and his teeth clenched. The men were all watching with expressions of mixed concern and admiration. "All right," he declared. "Now you can fucking medic me." Baseball set to work, examining the enormous bruise that was already spreading across Powell's calf. "Crew," he demanded, sticking out his hand. Adam had already prepared an injector, which he duly handed over. Baseball had a soft and efficient touch with needles. He also handed Powell an anesthetic lolly. "Stick that under your tongue for 30 seconds, sir," he ordered. Powell did as instructed, popping the little white painkiller wand into his mouth, then began to count aloud, though the stick under his tongue hindered the attempt slightly. "1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi." "We're in Alabama, sir," Legsy joked. This earned some chuckles from his men, and the kind of feigned, unimpressed look from Powell that the Major reserved for bad jokes. But, after a while, he made an amused harumph and started to count again, the crow's feet wrinkles at his eyes deepening just a little. 1 Alabama, 2 Alabama, 3 Alabama. The chuckles became a ripple of laughter. Adam let him reach a 20 count before taking the stick back. "You're going to need an hour or 2 for the crew to work, Major," Adam declared, using one of the many nicknames they'd adopted for Crew D. He stood up. "Your nose?" "Has been broken before, Burgess, thank you," Powell shrugged. "I already fucking sorted it." "Yes, sir. You should probably still put a slap patch on that," Baseball replied, cutting little triangles out of one so that it would fit over the Major's nose properly. "I'll save it for my fucking beauty sleep," Powell told him. "Wear it now, sir," Baseball insisted. Powell tried to sigh through his nose, only for a thin trickle of blood to start flowing back out of his nostril. He frowned, took the slap patch, and pinched it onto the bridge of his nose, wincing slightly as he disturbed the brake.
"Anyone got my time?" he asked.
"I got it, sir." Sykes produced the tablet computer he'd been recording them on.
"Right."
Powell looked at it, made a non-committal grunt, then looked around.
"That, lads, is the worst time you're ever going to do in this unit. Keep that time and look at it every now and again, because by the time we're up to operational readiness, you're going to look at that time you just did today and think, bloody hell, how was I ever that slow, all right?"
A chorus of, "Yes, sir," answered him.
"Good. Firth, call the barracks and get them to send our ride, will you? I don't really feel like walking back right now."
Date point: 6 years, 10 months AV. Regent's Park, London, UK, Earth. Ava Rios. Is everyone on Cimbrian as into fitness as you are? Ava and Sam were out for a mid-afternoon walk. Ava would have preferred to jog, but Sean had vetoed it and was complaining about the pace too, despite having longer legs. "You have to be," Ava explained. "The gravity's so low that if you don't spend time in the gym at least 3 times a week, all sorts of things go wrong." "Like what?" "Muscle wastage, brittle bones, heart problems, all sorts of things. And then you get so used to it that not exercising just feels bad, you know?" "I can't say that I do, Duck," Sean shrugged. "You're not interested in getting fit?" "I am fit." Ava restrained herself from laughing, with difficulty, but she couldn't let that pass. "You're not," she said. "Look at me, no fat on this anywhere," Sean protested, lifting up his t-shirt. He was right. There was nothing on him but some dark hair and his ribs, but Ava still snorted. "No muscle either," she told him. "Oh, like you're the She-Hulk," Sean grumbled, tugging the shirt back down again. "I don't need to be. I'm not in training for anything. I don't want to run marathons or anything. I just want to be able to live life on a low-G world without getting health problems and have enough energy to do stuff." "And look good naked." "Please, I'd have to work at it to look bad naked," Ava joked. "So would I," Sean retorted. Ava just shook her head, smiling, but they walked in silence for a bit. She became aware that he was breathing heavily as they started round the second side of the park, where huge cheering was just audible from the Lord's cricket ground. Sean fished his phone out of his pocket. "What?" Ava asked him. "Just checking. Oh, nice." "What?" "Patel's gone for a duck." "That's good?" "That's good," Adam agreed, running his hand through his sweat-heavy hair. "Here, can we slow down?" "For crying out loud," Ava rounded on him. "You can't even walk around the park without getting out of breath, and you claim to be fit?" "Well, what do I need to be fit for?" Sean objected. "Not getting short of breath when you go for a stroll? Better sex? Having something to show off under that shirt besides ribs and fur? Take your pick." Sean frowned at her. "I have great sex," he objected. "With who?" "I've had 5 girlfriends. They didn't complain." Ava laughed. "Fine, whatever." "They didn't." Ava ignored him and drew her, Sarah's, camera out from its now habitual spot on her hip. She'd found the custom-made quick-draw leather camera holster on Etsy and had treated herself to it, and had not regretted the decision for a minute. It earned her the occasional strange look, but a rather large number of looks that said, "That's so cool," though she was frankly past the point where either kind of look really mattered to her. Sean didn't have to wait long. The camera was out, focused, took a series of 7 rapid-fire photos, and was back in its holster inside 5 seconds. "Aren't you going to check those?" he asked. "Nope," Ava shrugged. She wasn't pushing the pace at all, but Sean still seemed to be scurrying to keep up despite his longer legs, and that he was short on breath. "But how do you know they're okay?" "I took them okay." "How do you know, though?" Ava shook her head.
Because I took them okay, she repeated. But, Sean! She stopped to glare at him again, then softened when he raised his hands offensively. Look, this was my best friend's camera. Her parents gave it to me when she died. I was already pretty serious about getting good with it before Adam left for basic training. And since then, I've had no social life. I've had nothing to do but study and practice with this thing. For a while there, it was literally the only thing I had. So trust me, if I say I took the picture okay, I took the picture okay, okay?
Do you do anything with those photos? He asked.
Not really, she shrugged. Not yet.
Maybe you should. If you're going to make a living from it, you need to start getting your name out there. And if you're that confident that what you're taking is good... Ava considered it as she started walking again.
Maybe you're right. A blog, maybe? My own website?
Go with a website, Sean recommended.
My mate Dave can set you up if you want. He'll code the site, host it, get you social media awareness, the works. Yeah? What's the catch?
No catch, Sean promised.
It just costs a bit. It's his job after all, but he's good at it, and he might give a discount to a mate. Interested?
Ava shrugged, nodded.
Okay.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am the Casual Deathworlder, your host, and this has been The Deathworlders, Chapter 22, Part 2, Part 1. I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. If you did, definitely smash those like and subscribe buttons and consider dropping a comment down below. Now then, as always, a huge shout out goes to my buddy Gregor. Thank you very much, buddy. I could never do this without you. And another shout out goes to my Tier 4 patrons, Russ of the Frozen North and Newsack. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And one final shout out goes to Charles. You know who you are. Okay, as of this recording, we are actually about to break 500 subscribers, or at least we're pretty close. With any luck, it might have broken that as of the time I actually upload the video. We're currently sitting at 495. Actually, we were at 497 about 2 hours ago. I don't know what happened to the other two, but that's YouTube for you. Okay, hopefully after 500 things will start picking up. Yeah, maybe will, maybe won't. We'll see. But for all of you out there who've been subscribing, thank you very much. This means the world to me. Now then, question, who's got the question? I know. MASH. How many of you are fans of the old show MASH? For that matter, considering who the majority of my audience likely is, how many of you have even heard of the old show MASH? If so, what was your favorite episode? Leave your answers in the comments down below. Until next time, be safe, be well. I love you all. Bye-bye.